What's going on, Colts Nation? Yes, you're right. You got no notification for this show. Neither did Loyalist. Because this is not done through my OBS. This was a last second, woke up, was like, you know what? Let's talk about roster cuts and other news. So I got on my StreamYard and I just hit go live. Typed in a title, dropped in my typical description, waited for Loyalist to pop on here. Now, obviously, the links still work in the bottom, and if there's any donations made via, my StreamYard donations that I got in the links down here, or any other, matter of fact, anything happens, I just go to this screen and we'll read it off, okay? I'll still be able to see and highlight, like, for instance, Alpha Wolf drops the I love the new background. Is that something from the last one? Like when I did the when I did it with the Quell, because that was done with an overlay, and I could do that pretty easily. Alex here sitting there saying, I finally made a live stream. What's up, Alex? And Brandon, what's good? What's good? Appreciate you being here. Alpha was like, no notification, but somehow no one has any notifications. I just went live and the heck with it, no preparation. Oh, it was when we were waiting. Okay. Got you. I assume that's the picture of the field with my logo in the middle that you were talking about. That's a typical background that I have for my YouTube channel. So on the Rise Colts podcast, what's going on, guys? Man, you know what? It's funny. No notifications, no prior knowledge of this. And I've already got 13, 14 people and they're just rolling in here. Terrence Cooper's in here. What up? Patton's in here. My goodness. We got all kind of people in here, Loyalist.
That's awesome, man.
And I didn't even preset it this at all.
They just knew to keep an eye out for you. That's all.
I guess. See, that's what happens though. I mean, if you do have all notifications turned on, it will say, hey, he's live or about to go live, even though I may not have it preset hours in advance like I generally do, right? Everyone wants to hear an opinion on the roster. Yeah, we're getting to that. What's going on, Joe? How's it going? And Martin says, I like the final 53. Any release players we might be interested in. That's a possibility. Ryan, talking about a certain Philadelphia Eagle player. I went through and watched 4 games of his today, straight through.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it was announced, I went through 4 games, and then that's when I made my decision on him. And he's a lot better than what a lot of people want to give him credit for. I'll tell you.
I'm just happy with the move because you know what? We've had the Chaz Greens and the Raven Clarks, and we wrote it out. And that was one of the couple things that we didn't put, at least I didn't, on my 53 pick. I put Will Holden due to lack of options. You know what I mean? And Will Holden actually, what?
I did.
I
put a trade in.
Right. But I mean, as far as, Will Holden making the 53.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy, because he just says, you know what? I'm tired of this mediocrity. I mean, because he made that release before the trade was even finalized. And obviously I'm sure that they had enough, work done that they already knew going into it. But still, I just love the fact that it's like, you know what? We've dealt with this settling for guys and stuff. And I mean, I understand he's a backup, he's a depth guy, but our left tackle depth piece is something that we've used now consistently year in and year out for the last 3 or 4 years. And this year is not going to be any different. So it's nice to know that at least Ballard's doing everything he can to throw as many darts at the board as he says.
Okay, so here Alex says, surprised we kept 7 wide receivers, but only 3 tight ends. All right, so I expect Farad Green to make the practice squad. Okay. And as for 7 wide receivers, you got to remember we got 3 players currently right now on the COVID IR.
4.
We have 4 still. Okay.
Fisher. Yeah,
Fisher's still on there. Yeah, I forgot about that. So we got 4 guys that don't count towards the 53. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as they come off that, most depending upon how quick Fisher is, because the other 3 are done Thursday, I think it is.
Yes.
They come off of it, there'll be 3 more cuts made.
Well, now and there again, you got to factor in that you've got possibly T.Y. Hilton, and then you also possibly have Sam Ellinger, who are going to go on to the IR after the 24-hour period. So, not actually 3 cuts, but I'm saying you get a couple spots back that way.
Yeah, you'll get a couple, but there'll be more cuts coming.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? At least 2, maybe 1, depending upon where Fisher's sitting at the time. But most likely 2 of them, because I don't think Fisher's going to IR. I think that he's actually pretty close to getting ready to start practicing. So it is what it is. Joe's like, LO's like, I told you so. Yeah, I knew. We were going to make a trade. And
I was thinking about that with Wyatt, whenever Wyatt was like, hey, put a trade in this thing. I was like, I bet he contacted Ballard too. And Ballard's like, okay, I'll do that.
I didn't get the right team. I got the right position.
Yeah.
Right. But I called the NFC, only I went Packers. He went Eagles. I understand why they went Eagles for 2 reasons. 1, our old head offensive coordinator is now their head coach. So, we got kind of inside track on making trades there. And he knows what's good, what's not. He ain't going to lie to Reich, even though he's got to build his own team. I think he'd be fair with Reich, And then also, last year, Carson Wentz played with this dude. He was his backup right guard and right tackle,
Yeah.
So
he played more games than he didn't play, wasn't it 10 games, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to know what, how much of this was presented to Carson and so on and so forth. Because let's be honest, Carson, his best friend was not the offensive line last year for him, So I guess I'm just sort of curious as, if I was a fly on the wall, how much of that conversation involved Carson Wentz and his perception of the situation.
JDW, I've been following Cam incredibly closely since he was drafted or picked up in free agency by the Patriots last year. Okay, because that's what I had to do all last season with Sportscaster with me and Ray over on DPN. Almost on the daily, we were talking about Cam. I've looked at so much Cam footage, Cam film, I would take Eason over Cam every day of the week. Why? Because Eason's younger. Eason's got a better arm. Okay. Now, does Cam have experience over him? Absolutely. He's a leader. He understands football. But I think Eason's long-term is way better than a broken down Cam right now, because after that shoulder surgery, after that ankle surgery, Cam's not the same guy he was in 2018. And it sucks. I was hoping that he'd be able to make it back, but his lateral movement is not nearly as good as it used to be. And he has issues throwing short passes, accuracy issues. We're not talking about power like, Eason sometimes throws it too hard, but at least it's on target. At least that if Eason hits the running back from 5 yards out, it might embed in their helmet, But I have looked over a lot of, every game at least 3 times last year for Cam, and I have seen not good. Just let you know. And Cam got dropped off a $10 million contract this year. That's it. That's all he was making, $10 million. And they couldn't even afford $10 million to have a backup. They would rather have Hoyer than Cam, dude, that says a lot. That says a lot.
Yeah, because Cam made it pretty clear he did not want to be a backup to anybody. He's not interested in playing second fiddle. So, as far as Cam over Eason, I just, there's so many ways that just doesn't seem to add up.
Daniel Martin Sonnenfeld, what's up, man? Appreciate you being in here. You were in here last night. We discussed some things while you was with me and I'm pretty sure. I named you out. You was in the chat too, Loyalist. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I called out a few of the things that I like your opinions, dude. I like your opinions and your questions. Yeah, JDW, that's fine. I wouldn't mind having Cam I'd take Cam as a backup, and I hate to say this, over who's about to be on IR, right?
Yeah.
But not over Eason. I think Eason just has too much upside. Just my opinion. And everybody's allowed one, So all right. Let's looking at my stuff here. Let's go to the roster moves today.
Okay.
There was a couple guys I was actually a little bit like, didn't expect that.
Didn't expect them making it, or didn't expect them getting cut?
Didn't expect them getting cut. At least one guy for sure.
He wouldn't possibly be a 5th-round rookie, would he?
That would be it. I thought Sean Davis played pretty darn good last game. And, I thought him being a rookie and a 5th-round pick would allow him to stay on, but no, gone.
I got to see, and for me, I don't, when we talked about, our 53 and stuff, I told you, it was Sean Davis and Marvell Tell. And here's the thing, Tell's what, in his 3rd, or is he in his 4th year of his contract? I mean, he's getting real close to, the end of his contract. He's in his 3rd year, okay? And we still really haven't had a chance to see what we've got in Marvell Tell. I mean, I know, his rookie year, he came out and had some decent practices, and then he sat out all last year. So I'm wondering, is this more of just let's fully evaluate this kid. Let's give him a roster spot, understanding that he may not even be on the roster whenever it's all said and done, when we get into week 1 and week 2. But for now, give him a spot and just give him the opportunity to keep, performing. And I guess they're maybe sort of thinking that Davis, somebody they can slide on the practice squad and have access to him if need be. That was sort of my thinking. Yeah, that was my thinking. Do you keep Tell because he is so deep in his contract and you need to find out what you really got with him, And that was for me, when I was going through my list and stuff, that was the choice that I was trying to make between them two.
A year out of football. He looked good his rookie year, or at least looked promising his rookie year.
Yeah.
And being a year out of football, maybe they're hoping that, a few more weeks of practice and live reps and things like that might do him good, might help him get back to the where they were hoping he was going to be rather than that. But that's a big chance cutting a 5th-round pick and hoping that a 5th-round pick will make it to a practice squad.
Yeah. Well, and I got the sense that Eberflus was just like, Tell already understands that, the defense is based around hustle, and this is based around, keep that motor running at full throttle throughout. And I feel like from the interview that we heard from Flus and stuff, that was sort of lacking, with Sean Davis out of Florida. It just felt like he was a little, he's trying to learn how to become a Colt. And to me, that just screams, at least with our defense, that he wasn't 100%, on full throttle mode, I guess, and out there running around with his hair on fire type.
True. It might be it. I need to look at 53-man roster. Because interestingly enough, they have 11 guys on the defensive line. That's got to be a record. We had 10 last year, and I was like, holy crap. Now Now, had that happened, then I would have been like, you know what? Probably would keep Woods. But you notice we both picked Stallworth.
Yep.
He made the team. Another guy that's on that team, Chris Williams. I said we'd probably keep him because I like the way he looked. Now the question is, does Antoine Woods or Chris Williams end up getting cut? You know, when, say, another, 3 guys come back this Thursday.
Yeah. Or even
a wide receiver.
I was getting ready to say, or even so, there's going to be a lot of jockeying around, especially, with all these guys on COVID. I mean, and I'm not trying to get the whole COVID conversation going or anything, but we do have, a number of players that aren't vaccinated. So if they do get caught up in this 5-day or 10-day, protocol or whatever, I mean, there again, once again, you have that available roster spot and stuff. Because there's young talent like you said, they brought in the 2 deepest areas that we were looking at was receiver and D-line.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they took the
extra
luxury spots, the 4 spots that we had already available, because the one that I thought that would make it was DeMichael Harris, but I felt like he was the 8th guy looking in. And I thought, if they did take those 4, that they would do DeMichael Harris instead of an Antoine Woods. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I and the Sasha Ray, I was really wasn't sure if the Colts were as impressed with them as as the fans were and stuff. Because you have that disconnect sometimes. They see classroom work and all that, but obviously the Colts put them on, and it was interesting this year how they sort of, instead of doing the 53 like they normally do with safeties and corners, they just defensive backs. And I like that because you sit there and you think about the Marvell Telthirds and the Sasha Rays and stuff. These guys have shown mobility and being adaptive to being at the the safety as well as the cornerback spot. So I think that is something that they get as a luxury with these 4 spots, and then like I said, with the added effort that we saw from Sasha Ray.
Hold on, I got to check something real quick. Stupid. Where is this whole undrafted free agent thing they're saying continues with? Where's that at? Because I don't see the undrafted free agent on here.
Last year, Chris Williams would have been an undrafted free agent, but he made the practice squad. So is that what they're saying? Because
Williams was last year's draft, not this year's draft.
Right. I don't know if that was possibly what they were saying because he was a practice squad, and this year he's making the
that wouldn't count though.
Right.
That I don't think that counts. It's got to be an undrafted free agent from that year. And Williams was last year, not this year.
Exactly.
So, and Sasha Ray has been around since 2018. Mm-hmm. Proud as heck the boy made the roster though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he definitely earned the spot. We both had him on, so
yeah, like I said, that was just one I was just interested to know if the coaches saw it the same way we did.
Yeah, that's the one thing that was worried. Lawrence, where do you think the Colts lack in depth after the roster update? Depth? I think we're fairly deep everywhere. I still want to get into the trade and the guy that we got from there.
Okay.
I still think that we need an upgrade at the Sam linebacker. I don't like Franklin and Adams there, even though they're only playing 30%. That's a scary, scary thought. I don't think that I don't know. They're physical enough and they're able to hold an end. But man, if they have to run speed, then we got problems because neither one of them is overly fast. They're good tacklers, but neither one of them are overly fast. And against some of the better running backs in the NFL, I wouldn't mind Franklin. I mean, I'm okay with Franklin and Adams, going up against like Derrick Henry because he's not overly fast. Now, I'm not okay with any of our guys going up against Derrick Henry unless it's like DeForest freaking Buckner or Grover Stewart because he's bigger than everybody else on the team other than them two. But I'm just saying physicality that they give. But when you're looking at other guys, that have more quickness and agility, that worries me a little bit with Adams and Franklin. So the tackle position, our new pickup, I actually like him a lot. Okay. Do I think he's a starting left tackle? No. And there's no way he was picked to be a starting left tackle. I think Davenport has that locked as the backup behind Fisher. I'm pretty sure Davenport has that locked down. But with Tevy going to IR, Holden being cut outright, because Tevy, it has to go to IR. It's just because of his injury. Now, he might be released with an injury designation and just paid money to, do that. Because the Colts can do that, pay him outright the money that he would make while he's on IR just to let him go, which is a possibility.
Injury settlement.
Yeah, an injury settlement. But I watched, like I said, 4 straight games from the Giants game on where he was a guard in the Giants game. And then the next game he played against Seattle as the tackle. Right, the right tackle. He was the right guard, then the right tackle. I like him more as a guard than I do a tackle. Okay, but what he brings is power. He's a good run blocking player. His pass blocking, I think his pass blocking is better than Tevy or Holden.
Is that just because he's so massive? I mean,
he is a monster.
Man.
And with long arms. Long arms. Here's the deal. He is one of those guys where occasionally a quarterback's going to have to be aware and step up into the pocket with him. Okay? His side-to-side mobility is limited. Now, he can pull, but that's because he turns his whole body, moves forward, and then turns, But when it comes to moving side to side, shuffling your feet side to side, it's not as quick as you would like from a tackle. Braden took 1.5 years, 2 years to get that just perfect right for himself, Let's face it, he wasn't the best right tackle in the world when he started out there as a rookie. It took a lot of work and effort to get that footwork down. And that's something I think that this kid's going to need a lot. But he blocks very, very well. He has his head on a swivel. I noticed he notices stunts very well. He notices delayed blitzes very well. That's what I like, the head on the guy's shoulders, And when you got a guy, a tackle or a guard that's got a head that able to recognize stunts and delayed blitzes and things of that nature, that's a base that is easier to work with than someone who has footwork issues. Because like we say, everything below the waist can be fixed. Everything below the waist can be fixed. It's up here, not always. Right.
And with what you've seen and stuff, is he like more susceptible to the speed rushers? Does he have a problem with dealing with the bull rush, the power rushers? I mean, did you see any patterns or anything that jumped out in the 4 games you saw?
Now, I'm sorry, repeat that.
As far as the type of rushers and the ones that he had, was he having more trouble with the people who, go from power to speed, or was he having more of the Sam Tevy where the speed guys were just cooking him? Does he have, I guess, one weakness over the other, I guess?
Not really. Okay, so he can be gotten with changeups. Okay, and that's again, guys who have a good re- repertoire, I believe is the correct word, of pass rush moves. Guys who can run a bull rush, then run an edge rush, then run an arm bar, or something of that nature. There was a couple sacks he gave up that was not his fault at all, at all. He set up against the Seahawks game. I watched a sack he gave up. The ball was snapped. He had a receiver out on his right side. He set up to receive a chip block. Like the receiver was supposed to come in on the defensive end, chip him on the shoulder and push him into him. And he set up to receive this chip block. But the wide receiver might as well have been a fly. Because it looked like the wide receiver put no effort into it at all. I mean, at all. He didn't even bounce off of him. It's almost like he barely grazed him and then went off on his route. Like he was too worried about getting open rather than pulling the chip. And because Pryor was set for a chip block, he set inside more rather than outside more to go out for him. So the defensive end was able to get the outside edge on him and get the sack. But had he went out like he was supposed to, because that defensive end was sitting at the wide 7, right?
Straight path inside to the quarterback.
Had he went that way and he'd been chip blocked properly, yeah, that defensive end would have had the inside move and it would have been straight up. I'd rather give an outside edge sack to a quarterback 10 times out of 10 than give the inside move.
Especially when they have to go as far as they do to get around this dude.
Yeah, exactly. Lawrence, who would you like to see the Colts bring back to the practice squad? There would be interesting. There's a few of them, actually, that I think will make the practice squad. I think Loyalist and I both said so.
Yeah, like the Michael Harris. I could see him making practice squad. Honestly, think that we're going to have a running back, whether, if, Darius Anderson or Darius Jackson, Deion Jackson.
Deion.
And I know.
That's fine.
I'm just going to get his name
that
wrong
mistake every time. Fine. That's fine.
Deion
we
Jackson,
all know.
I could see him making, I know everybody's high on the Benny LeMay situation and stuff, but I feel like the upside is where the practice squad. So I can see Jackson. I can see Will Fries bouncing in and out of the practice squad, depending on, like you said, once everybody comes back and things stabilize a little more. Wide receivers, we saw some good, pops from Vaughn and Tariq Black. So, we had a lot of, D-line. If any of those guys that we can keep, that we've had to let go, pretty much any of them, would be awesome to be able, if we could keep them on the practice squad.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys that could, would, should, like you said, but at the same time, and we will. I mean, we will. Benny LeMay might have a shot, of getting the practice squad. He's kind of a beefier type running back as opposed to Deion, who is more of a shifty guy, right? But Deion does not necessarily have the straightaway speed that you would hope from a shifty guy. That's the problem. You did see the game, that touchdown, right? That 49-yard run that he did for a touchdown. Boy, The defensive back, even linebackers were catching him, from behind. He was wide open. There was no one, but then they closed around him like the maws of a freaking shark right before he got to the end zone. I'm just glad he was able to make it. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. What's going on, LA Rams? Look who's in here. How's he going, man? Appreciate you. What do you think Kylan Granson's main role will be? It will be to Be a target on the offense to move the chains. um, he, in my opinion, early on, I think Granson will be a guy that they'll go to on first down and short yardage, second down to try to get chunk yardage. I don't think he's a guy that you're going to throw the football to on 3rd and 3 in hopes of, needing 4 or 5 yard reception with a guy with, sure hands, bring the ball in, move the sticks. I feel like this is a guy, Granson, right now, that is someone that you have an extra down that you can play with and try to catch a defense off guard and hit someone with a mismatch. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he'd also be fairly productive at 3rd and long, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, where you're trying to get him in the middle of that, softer defense and stuff, and, like I said, drop the pass to him and let him, let him use his escapability or whatever, to get away from the linebacker or the safety crashing in on him.
Ram says, I'm doing great. My Rams are stacked. Woohoo. Ready to go. Congratulations. The Colts. I feel the Colts roster is stacked. We just got to wait for everything to roll through and get, full go. But once we get everyone together in full go, I think the Colts are stacked as well. But I'm glad you like your team. I'm really excited to see what Matt Stafford does, especially early on. I want some people.
All but week 2, that is, yeah.
I want him to shut so many people up. But yeah, with the COVID situation right now and the players that missed a lot of training camp and injuries and things of that nature, week 1, week 2 still in question on who's going to be playing, that type of stuff. That has some Colts fans worried, including myself. I ain't going to lie. Ryan Kelly and Quentin Nelson out. That worries me a little bit with my whole prediction of Eason going to get 300 yards passing against them. Or did I say? I think I said 400. But either way, yeah, Eason, I think I said 302 tugs. But still, I still think he could do it against that team. I really, really do. As long as we got solid O-line play and the way our running backs run, I think if we have to start Eason, I'm comfortable with Eason against the Seattle. I'm just not comfortable with Eason against the Rams because we need someone who can move and quickly when you got to deal with a guy like Aaron Donald. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah, and more importantly, they've got to be able to adjust and get the play to, like you said, find where Aaron Donald is first and then go from there as far as, audibling and getting yourself into a better play.
JDW, yes, both of them can play week 1. They're hoping that that's the case. Kelly is practicing, full go practicing. He's out until Thursday due to the COVID protocol. Nelson is out till Thursday. Nelson's back now.
Yeah, he's already back.
Nelson's already back. This is his week to show, right? It was the way Carson was supposed to be. Him and Carson and Nelson were supposed to have this week to show that they can run full team drills, right? Mm-hmm. And be able to play week 1. Kelly's fine. Kelly will be playing week 1.
And I think that's massive because, we sit there and we talk about, Carson and finding his rhythm. But you know what? Quentin Nelson hasn't been lined up alongside, Julian Davenport at all this entire training camp. So I think the fact that them two are getting that extra week of communication and understanding what each other's likes and how to set each other up on double teams and stuff, I think that's a massive win for, from the news point and stuff. But there was something I was sort of interested to get your thoughts on is, okay, for me, I still want Ballard to be scouring, and I expect he is, scour the cuts and stuff. And 2 areas I was looking for is cornerback and possibly a veteran, more seasoned wide receiver, closer to the TY, what TY offers and stuff. What are your thoughts on, like you say, we discussed, Tyler Lockett, you hear Pittsburgh, James Washington's not happy there, maybe there's, some interest there type stuff, which I know he hasn't been cut, but I'm just saying, do you think that those are areas that Ballard, when he's going through and checking these waiver wires and stuff, that these are a couple positions that are sort of a little higher up on his mind as far as, looking a little harder, I guess?
With Ty gone, maybe, but at the same time, I honestly feel that Reich and Brady like the depth, and the youth and speed and variety that the wide receivers have, even with Ty out. Could they use a veteran guy? Possibly. But at the same time, you also got to remember we only have $6 million left on our cap this year.
Right.
And that's something I think that the Colts will most likely be trying to save just in case of emergency.
So you don't think they're looking for any cornerbacks or safeties either?
I not veteran guys that's going to cost a bunch of money.
No, I'm saying, these guys that get released on waivers and stuff, the cut down.
No, not wide receiver wise. I think I think the wide receivers we have are pretty solid. And you also got to remember our playbook is pretty difficult. You know what I mean? Like it's very complex playbook. And the guys that we have right now, even though they're young and, practice squad-ish guys, they've been working with this playbook all off season. We bring in someone new off of waiver cuts, they'll have to learn that all over from the get-go. And that could take weeks or months, for that to happen. So that's a little bit of a worry as well. I don't know particularly anyone that would cost much to pick up after these waiver wires. I really can't think of too many people that would fill in at the wide receiver position. As long as we don't have any more like injuries. If Pittman or Campbell goes down, then start looking.
Yeah.
Then start looking. But that's my thought anyhow. Alex says Ballard was going to let Ty walk. So he obviously comfortable with what he's seen before the draft. I think so too. Him and Reich both were saying early, our wide receiver depth is better than what people think. It's just they weren't utilized as much because we didn't have a quarterback that could get the ball to him as well, at the time, because we were built for more, deeper passes, wide receiver style, a lot of youth, a lot of quickness, a lot of speed, things of that nature. And, quite frankly, it was easier for Rivers to dump it off to Hines or Taylor or somebody a lot of times, especially considering, when you got guys like that, you can catch the ball out of the backfield and pick up 10, 15 yards. If you're guaranteed to drop the ball off to a running back in the flat and know that he's going to pick up 10 yards, well, yeah, you're going to do it. Absolutely. At least I would. 10 yards every play. That's a touchdown over and over and over and over, Gorgian says, thank God Mr. Ursay didn't think we had that. Well, I mean, bringing Ty back, I mean, we still don't know how long Ty still got to have the surgery or whatever it is that's going to happen. We don't know how long he's gone. They said they're optimistic it's not season ending.
Yeah.
Okay. When they say that, I worry. Okay. I worry because that's not a good sign. So I just saying,
yeah. And I think the Ty helped. I mean, I honestly, yes, I understand that Ballard was willing to let Ty walk, but that was still also early on in things. I feel like if Ballard let Ty walk, I think he still would have been looking for another speed piece to bring in at a lesser value back then. Now, yes, obviously when T.Y. got re-signed and everything, Ballard, then things changed. I felt like, he was satisfied with what we had, and like you said, Irsay jumped in and helped, helped, solidify the deal, I guess you might say. But I still feel like with Ty gone, without a, DeMichael Harris, I just feel like we're, yes, I know we got Paris Campbell, but if, like you said, if God forbid, if he was to go down, then all of a sudden our wide receiver core, as far as speed goes, falls off a cliff.
Well,
because you have, because then you only have Naheem Hines as far as this the speed twitchy guy out of the backfield. The rest of Patman and
Doolin.
Doolin still. I wouldn't put him much faster than what
I get you.
What we get from a Strawn or somebody like that. You know what I mean?
We won't. Yeah. Without if Campbell goes down, our serious deep threat ability, due to speed, yes, drops off a map. We still have deep threat abilities. Michael Pittman and Mike Strawn, both the Mikes, can make plays down the field.
Yeah. But for me, I guess I still sit there and I think about when Andrew Luck and Ty were connected. How many times did we see Ty making catches where he was 4-5 yards with nobody even around him? You know what I mean? To where if the throw was a little off center or whatever, he had plenty of room to run under it and stuff. And like I said, my concern is with Ty not there, and with Paris Campbell, and I'm not trying to put the voodoo on him or the hex on him, but just with his history of not playing, a full season and stuff, do we need to have a speed demon or somebody that is good route runner that's got, like I said, the ability to get that separation, I guess. And like you said, the down the field, stretching the field. So,
we could still use Hines in that aspect if we needed to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if Campbell goes down with Ty out, then yeah, I think that might be a situation where you might find a speed guy like a John Brown. I know someone up here mentioned his name and laughed a little bit, but in a pinch, I would take a John Brown, right? But that would be a serious pinch, and I'm not hoping that Campbell goes down with injury this year. I'm hoping Campbell makes the whole 17 weeks plus the playoffs.
Yes, sir.
And I'm hoping that Ty, this is not as serious as it sounds. He just needs to go and see a chiropractor and have him just pop that sucker back in place, and it's all good to go. But we don't know. Right. Tate, yes, Golden Tate still on the market. I see some questions about him. He's somebody that I did say earlier, in a pinch, I wouldn't mind having Tate as a Ty replacement. He's a very similar to a Ty, and I think that he would do a good job in that situation. About the same age, about the same style, about the same body build, everything, but
high quality route runner.
yeah. But it's not something I would do again unless Campbell goes down as well. Yeah. Daniel Martin says, wait, Nelson's back? Yes, Nelson is back. And he'll be practicing full practice with full team reps tomorrow. So just let you know, they did the walkthrough today.
And he was back Tuesday also for practice.
Well, here's the thing. You know what frustrated the heck out of me today? Of all the news that I watched today, and I got to turn my camera back on so you could see my face and see how pissed off I am. All right. I watched the Frank Reich presser today, and I was so disappointed in every single Indianapolis media reporter, even our own Kevin Bowen. every question was vaccination related. Every single one of them. It's like they all teamed up on Reich. You could see Reich about 5 minutes into it getting frustrated because they were pushing him to say that he needs to push these guys to get vaccinated, even though he kept saying, I'm not going to do. He's basically saying, I'm not going to do that. They tried that right off the bat with Michael Pittman. Did you see Michael Pittman wearing a mask, even though he's fully vaccinated in that presser?
Yeah.
You know, and people are like, well, they don't do that if they're vaccinated. Michael Pittman was doing it just so that he can, extra level of protection for those around him, just in case. But they asked him, and he said, you know what? We talk. They did the same thing with Buckner, Yeah. You're a leader. Is there some way that you can kind of, they even said this, twist their arm into doing it, right? Twist their arm into doing it. And Buckner's response was basically, we've already talked about it. And every person's decision is their own, and I respect it. And that's that. We are a team.
And the thing is everybody's making it sound like, that Reich and Ballard are just sitting back on, hey, would you get the shot? No? Okay. And it's clearly not. I mean, there has been, a concerted effort. There has been educational. There's been numerous people discussing. I mean, it's not like the Colts aren't sitting there and discussing this and trying to give these guys as much of, information as they can. And you've got your owner out there saying things like, you know what? You've got to be willing to sacrifice. I mean, the message has been delivered, guys. These guys are, they're just guys that they think for themselves, And I don't know why everybody's so appalled by that, or why everybody, all right, never mind. Sorry, slow down. My point is, you know what? Give these guys the information, but then treat them like human beings, treat them like people that have brains and character and all these things that we've been hyping and celebrating over the last Ballard era, and just accept it. Okay. If these guys choose not to do it, okay. Yes, it may affect a win or a loss. Okay. It may, I'm not denying that, but you know what? That's life that we live in. This is a life that we have to live in. And why can't everybody just sit there and allow the fact that this team is going to pull together and unite? They're not always going to agree. They're not, but they also aren't going to sit there and try to, like you said, try to bully the situation or force it into something that makes a divided locker room. And that, to me, would be more devastating than losing a player or two and a fan base being a little, pardon my language, but a little pissy over something that is really none of their opinion. They don't have any say in it.
I'm going to go over what DeQuell Jackson was talking about earlier yesterday in just a second, because he brought up a major point and I wanted to get to that as well. But thank you so much, TJ Joe. $10. You're a cheeky bleak. Let's go. All right. I guess is that a bad thing? A good thing? What's cheeky mean?
I'm more interested in what the bleep is.
Oh, I'm pretty sure bleep is a 4-letter word, but cheeky, that's not a term we use in Indiana very often. So I'm just curious what cheeky, means. I'm thinking that's not
more of a British type of
language. Yeah, to me. But I appreciate the $10. Thank you so much. But here's the thing. Okay,
be cheekier. Be cheekier.
So DeQuell Jackson brought up a very good point. We're talking about, and I was talking about this as well. Snarky. Okay, TJ says it's snarky. All right, I'm a snarky person. 4-letter word meaning person. All right, that's cool. No, well, I mean, very rarely do I get upset over something, but when I'm watching a presser and the whole presser, literally every question is vaccination, that ticks me off, because I want to know about the team. I don't want to just know about, how everybody in the media wants, the team to force all their players to be vaccinated. when they don't know each individual person's story. And Reich was trying to explain that. And it kind of reminded me of what our conversation with the Quell was last night. You don't know what their story is. Maybe this person has, a high risk situation. Maybe they have a family member in-house that's high risk. Now, you would think, well, that's a reason to get vaccinated. Not necessarily, because if you get vaccinated, you literally are carrying that with you, which means you're taking it home with you, okay? Which means you can spread it right then, okay? And if a person, you legitimately can get that, you giving yourself that. And if your body does not work it properly, you could pass it on to your family members from a shot. Now, that's something that doesn't always happen, generally does not happen, okay? But it's possible. Yeah. And you don't want to, and some people are worried about that. Some people are worried about, there hasn't been 7 years of freaking, testing to figure out what long-term, problems are, which is what generally happens for any drug to be passed by the FDA. The FDA pushed this one through in less than 6 months,
And I understand what you're saying, because this was a big day for us, especially for a team like the Colts, because we had a lot of questions on the fringe. We had a lot of guys that we were interested to.
I'm sorry, Martin, it is true, because the simple fact of the matter was that my aunt had taken a flu shot, got sick off of it, passed it on to her mother. Her mother got the flu because she got the shot, and her mother got the flu 2 days later. My grandmother came up with the flu because my aunt got the shot. It can happen. It's rare, but it does happen. The shot is the virus. FYI, the shot is actually the virus. It's dead virus, supposedly. That's what a shot is. That's what a vaccination is. Is it they fill your body with a dead virus, and your body then its immune system goes in and matches it and fixes it and gets it out. You get what I'm saying? Did I lose you, or am I ticking you off?
No, I'm just listening. I'll be honest with you. Like I said,
yeah. It is a virus. The shot is a virus. It's just it's a weakened, kind of deadened virus, but it can still. There's a reason why there's side effects to a shot. A vaccination shot. You can still have a lot of those symptoms from taking a vaccination shot. That's why they say, you might get a headache, you might get a fever, you might feel sick to your stomach and stuff like that after a shot, and a lot of people do, but because it's mostly like deadened virus, then your body's able to fight it off a lot easier. If you understand what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Like I said, I was like you, man. I just wanted to hear about the roster. This was such a big day for a lot of guys. And we put a lot of time and effort into watching these guys and seeing them, like you said, going out there and seeing all but I think 3 practices and stuff, and getting our information and just wanted to see how much of that, come true and stuff, I guess.
But anyhow, either way, when it comes to the virus situation, we don't know, and I have to respect each and every player's choice, no matter what it does. As long as they follow the NFL protocols, I'm okay with it. If they take the shot, great. If they don't, that's their decision. They may change their mind in the future. We don't know. It's possible, but right now, we live with it. I mean, if you, no matter if you get the shot or don't get the shot, if you do come down with it, you're still out. Now there's no close contact for someone who's had the shot to be, isolated for 5 days, but it's 5 days. It might not even be a game. There might be close contact on a Monday. They'll be back that Friday, so it may not affect at all. or it could affect the game. That's that. What's my week one? That's a good question, man. Oh wait, FaZe says I think we did good on the roster cuts. I do too. But like I said, we're going to see more roster cuts later this week once some guys come back off of the COVID protocol. One or two of them. But that is. And what's your week one prediction? What's your week one prediction?
For me personally, I still think, and I know this, may not be a popular thought, but I don't care who quarterback is. I still feel like we have the right people on the roster and stuff that we can do what is needed to be done offensively. And I think our defense is going to be able to put the lockdown on Seattle. So I like I said, I feel like the quarterback, as far as if it's Carson, if it's, Eason, I'm comfortable with either. I am more concerned about the LA game, and that's quite the opposite. Yes, Carson has to be the quarterback for that game. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think week one we still have the roster. I think our defense, like I said a few weeks ago, I feel like our defense, the stress is on them more to keep that run game on a lockdown. And then, like I said, keep Russell in the pocket. Don't let him extend them plays and just shred us up that way, because our secondary is still not good at locking down these guys, after 5-6 seconds.
Well, there's no one out there after 5 or 6 seconds that's good at locking anyone down. Jalen Ramsey ain't covering somebody for 5 or 6 seconds. He'll cover someone for 3 or 4, and that's cool. But no one's covering a wide receiver for 5 or 6 seconds. That's almost impossible. You ask any cornerback. And that's man to man, right? And the Colts don't run a lot of man to man. They generally like their zone coverage. So it is, what it is. And we're going to give up completions. That's just what happens. That's what this defense is built around, giving up completions. Force a team to walk down the field and do 8, 9, 10 completions in a row in order to score, not make a mistake. That's what our defense is based off of while we're throwing, while our front four is trying to get pressure on the quarterback to force, quick decisions and things of that nature. Hopefully our edge rush is up to the task against a questionable offensive line, to say the least, in Seattle. Wide receiver wise, like I said, it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's Eason or Wentz out there with this offense. I think we'll move the ball well against them. The only thing that we'll need to do is Wentz and the offensive line will need to keep an eye on number 29 because wherever Adams is at, they need to make sure that they shift the blocking towards that general direction, because just assume the guy is coming every time, because he generally is. All right. Just assume Adams is coming and set up your blocking scheme to get him, but I think we got him. I think we got this. Even our offensive line, I think, is better than their defensive line. And that's if I think our offensive line is better than their defensive line, even if Kelly and Nelson don't play. Okay? Wow. Seriously. Their defensive line is not very good. It's not. Go look. But, they were the 31st worst team in quarterback pressure from the defensive line in the NFL last year. 31st. The only team.
You've got Reed and who else would you have in place of Kelly? I'm assuming you'd have Reed at guard.
Yeah, probably have to have Reed at guard, and
Penter's still out, so
maybe, depending. We'll see where Penter's at. We don't know. If Kelly,
if you gave me Penter and Reed, I could see that, but like you said, anybody else, I feel it looked like just training camp.
But I think Kelly will play.
Yeah,
I think it's like a 90% chance that Kelly will play. So, I'm not too worried about that. But if we have Reed and Davenport out there on the left side, I'm perfectly comfortable against that Seattle defensive line. I really am. Like I said, just kind of adjust the blocking scheme to wherever Adams is at. That's all you got to do. And keep an eye. I know he's getting older, guys, but number 54, the linebacker,
Wagner.
Yeah, he's still pretty darn good. All right. So I'm just saying, he's still pretty darn good. That Bobby fella, right?
Nice thing is our offensive line, no matter who it is, because of Darius, they should be very familiar with how to deal with, maybe not deal with them, but at least how to cope them and maybe make them not as game changing.
All right. I think I got something in here. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Since I'm not running my traditional, yes, I do, which means I got to pop this up. This is going to be a little bit different, ladies and gentlemen, but I got to. Wow, the stream came on and boom. All right, I have to go this way because of I'm not running my stream my Streamlabs OBS on this stream. I don't know if you can see it. If you can't, Thornburg with a $10 donation. Thank you so much. Says zone defense requires tackling in space and limited yards after catch. That is my concern with the majority of this defense. And you know what, Joe? That is, it's about reacting to the pass. Getting there and limiting yak yards. That's exactly what zone is. And forcing a team to do things over and over and over and over and not make a mistake. And generally that's a bend but don't break defense, right? That's where the turn comes from. You bend, you give up some completions, but you don't give up the touchdown, right? And that's how that works. And hopefully it works out that way. We have linebackers for that style of defense in Okereke and Leonard, and our safeties are built for that with Willis and Blackman. We just have to worry about the deep ball. Yeah. Against Seattle, that's the one thing we have to worry about, okay? I want, and this is the honest to goodness truth. I want Rhodes, for the first time in his career in Indianapolis, to follow number 14 around wherever he goes and have help over the top. Okay? Because I don't want DK Metcalf killing us over the top, because he is a fast dude and he's a strong dude. Now, I think in short range passing, I think that's fine. We got him. Okay? Lockett is also a scary fella. Tyler Lockett's a good receiver. But I think that if it's DK that I'm more scared of, and it's sad. Like I said, Lockett's a good player, but DK is tough to match up with. And I don't know if Rhodes has the speed to follow him downfield. I think he could follow him in regular, inside the 20-yard routes, but if it's a go route from like their own 30, I'm pretty sure that Metcalf will burn Rhodes. So that's why I'm like, just make sure you always have a safety over the top watching. Don't bring safeties down, either one of them. Don't bring Willis or Blackman down in the box. Make sure our front seven can handle the run. And as long as we got Buckner and Stewart there, I think we'll be fine against the run. Chris Carson's solid, but our front seven's pretty darn good. I mean, they were number 2 in the NFL last year. Guys, it's been over an hour. It don't feel like we've been sitting here an hour. Yes. Joe says that his point was that tackling was terrible, especially last preseason game. And you're right, it was. It was bad, but it wasn't our starters.
No, and the Colts over the last couple of years, that has been something that they've hung their hat on quite consistently as being good tacklers.
Yeah. Our starters are good tacklers. Our backups, they did not look good against Detroit. I am 100% with you. I feel like you could have took every tackle that they missed and paved the road all the way back to Indy with it, you know.
Yeah.
But our starters are good tacklers. So we'll see how that works out. We'll see. He says, I hope the ones do a better job. Yeah, I got faith they will. I mean, they're used to being out there and doing that, you know. A lot of your backups don't play or have not played much at the professional level, right? They're not used to guys who can just power their way through a tackle and things like that. And in the pros, almost everybody can, you know. So you got to tackle and you got to have the right form. And Eberflus is all about that. Eberflus is all about tackling with, you know, the proper form and mechanics and all of that. So I don't have an issue with that at all. I think that we'll be fine.
And one of the big things that we were missing last week, I mean, we didn't have Grover or DeForest in there eating up all those blocks and keeping our backers free. I mean, you know, they were getting up to the second level and putting some helmets on the linebackers and stuff a lot last week, where you won't see a lot of that when you got Grover and DeForest and on the inside, you know, like we said, you know, just keeping them guys clean and letting them do their magic.
Faye says, I thought you said their D-line was good. They got two okay players. And when I say okay, I mean they're okay. Oh, all right. The rest of their D-line is not very good at all. Okay. Like I said, they're okay against the run. They're not very good against the pass. They do not have great pass rush on their D-line. Like literally a third of their pass rush came from Adams last year. I'm not even kidding. So, you know, and he's consistently blitzing all the time. He's like the most blitzed defensive back in the NFL last year. And for good reason.
And another thing, you know, Seattle hasn't even cleared up their left tackle situation right now. So if he's not, you know, up to form and stuff, which I can't imagine he would be, because yes, he's been showing up to practice, but he's just been doing the whole Deshaun Watson routine, you know, just sort of sitting there with a hangnail or whatever, you know, his excuse for not practicing, you know, and stuff. So if they don't get Brown sorted out at left tackle and get him some reps in there, I mean, I feel like their offensive line drops off, you know, quite a bit on that left side then.
Yeah, I think so too. KDC City's in here. What's up, man? He says, do you think it's the system or the players on the system that make or I assume this is that make or break make a defense great? Both. It's both. First off, you put in your system, and then you got to get the players that are right for that system, right? Not every team is good at playing a zone defense. Not every team is good at playing a man defense, and no team is good at doing both consistently because certain players are good at certain things. I would lean on a system and then bring in the players, right? Because generally your coaches are going to last longer than the players on the team, and it's the coach's system that you're looking for. So you need a good system, and not just the system, but the guy who's bringing the system. This is the key point. The players that are there have to buy in. They have to believe in that system. All right. If they don't believe and buy into that system, then it's not going to work, because 99% of a system working is that the players believe in it, trust in it, and trust in the guys around them. And that's how the Colts operate. And that's why their defense made the jump last year. You know, at least that's how I see it. How do you see it?
Oh, I agree. You know, I mean, I was sitting there and I was thinking about when Ballard first came in his first year with Pagano, and just, you know, how we didn't have the right pieces for what they were trying to transfer over to and stuff. And we saw a massive overhaul. But now you look at our defense, and like you said, you've got the interior D line is real solid. Our linebackers are very fast. everybody's getting more disciplined as far as, like you said, they know that when they go to run a stunt, that the linebacker is going to come in and fill that spot,
Mm-hmm.
and the play will work out. And like you said, this defense is so simplified, but it's also requires so much extra effort and extra work. And to get these guys to buy into that, I would have to imagine is, like you said, just the biggest improvement that a team can have is once they're committed to the scheme, then just making it work, putting all the pieces in. And I feel like that's why we've progressively gotten better over the last couple of years defensively.
Yeah. Daniel Martin Sonnenfeld says, can you have a fan podcast like every other week? I think it'd be a great idea to get to know the fans. I do have something like that already. Okay. But you need to be a Patreon member to be part of that. All right. Down the link below in the description down there, there's a link to my Patreon. It's $5 a month. Members that are part of the Patreon at once every week or so, once every week, once every 2 weeks, somewhere around that general vicinity, I have a Patreon stream. And that means that Patreon members will acquire a link half hour before I do the stream to join me and Loyalist in here and sit and talk with us about whatever, whether it's football, whether it's, how you like your eggs, it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's what we do. That's why I have that Patreon down there. And that's why I only have it $5 a month. 99% of people can find a way to squeeze out $5 a month, and when you do that, I post everything that I have, that I do on my Patreon. So you have a one-stop shop to make sure you get all my content. Okay. And
Daniel, I'll tell you right now, but the nice thing about it is, you got Joe Thornburg, who you've seen, he's a Steelers fan. We got Ross, who's a Patriots fan. We've got all these guys. And I mentioned those two because they both have joined in, and we've had discussions. I mean, whether it's about your dream car or whether, the nice thing is, I guess, is the content is just more of, we let you guys sort of let us know and where you want the conversation to go and stuff. It's pretty cool.
I had to say it now. Now people's in here. Yeah. I started something. That's awesome. Great. All right, man. This was fun. Don't forget, I'm gonna go ahead and drop this anyhow because I haven't done it yet. But we are still, my contract with Newsbreak has been extended until through next month. So I am still a member of Newsbreak. Don't forget, go down there, click the link. You can support the channel for free just by downloading the app, by using that link and giving us a follow. It's simple. It's easy. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. And the eggs are still popping up in the chat. Awesome. I'm sorry, I had to, even with the ad playing,
yeah.
I had to show. That's awesome, man. All right, we definitely got to have. Need a new one with the fresh cut. Oh, you're talking about my new ad with my new haircut? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got tired of it, man. It's hot outside. I was like, you know what? I need to cut my damn hair. So I went and I paid the money and got my hair cut. Now I look like Joe. What's up, guys? Hour and 15 minutes. Hey, I appreciate that. Thanks, man. You're gonna go watch a movie? What movie you gonna go watch, bro? That's a compliment, Joe. Take it as a compliment. What movie you watching, man? What movie you watching? I want to know. Unless you just already jumped out. I'm just curious. Some random movie on Amazon. Ah, okay. All right. Well, go enjoy it. Go enjoy it. See, now you had someone told you to grow them out even more, and you had to shave them. Now we look now they are right. I do look like you. Alpha says he likes his eggs surrounded by live chickens. All right.
Alpha always has a nice little twist to things.
Right. All right, FaZe. I think it's about time for us to jump out of here anyhow. Like I said, it's been over an hour and 15 minutes. I've had fun. This was a last minute thing. I was just like, hey, you want to do something today, Loyalist? Loyalist was like, yeah, sure, let's do something. And I was like, man, I'm really tired. I need a nap, after how frustrated I got after watching all the COVID interviews that was done today by the media. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a nap, woke up, and then that's why it was a last minute situation with you guys.
Appreciate you finding us, guys.
Absolutely. Over 30 some of you found us today. So that's kick ass. Appreciate you. Stone Cold will come to your house and dude, I would take the Stone Cold Stunner just to meet Stone Cold. All right. Seriously. Wouldn't you? Just to have him hang out and toss a couple back and enjoy the dude's got some great stories, and he's got a heck of a podcast himself.
If he's bringing the beer, then maybe.
Right. He has a show where he was trying girly drinks, forced to. But anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining the show. Appreciate everyone here. Don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell, and we'll probably see you tomorrow. I don't know, maybe after. I mean, it's the first practice of the week, so maybe we'll discuss that later in the evening tomorrow. But until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That over there is Colts Loyalist. And until next time, have a good one.